Fully accepting oneself is one of the most difficult things because it involves recognizing and accepting one's greatest fears, such as being stupid, limited, arrogant, narcissistic, self-centered, ugly, incapable, fearful, etc. Only by accepting oneself more, however, it is possible to live more authentically in the present and reducing concern for the future and life in general. While you are concerned with something, you are not dealing with out to be nothing more than an anxious, passive, and counterproductive anticipation of an event unrelated to the hic and nunc, here and now. When one manages to reconcile with the present, in fact, there is neither a before nor a then. This is what Augustine meant when he wrote that a fact is now limpid and clear. Neither future nor past exist. It is incorrect to say that there are three times, past, present, and future. Perhaps it would be correct to say that there are three times, present of past, present of present, present of future. These three kinds of times exist in some way in the soul, and I do not see them elsewhere. The present of the past is the memory, the present of the present is the vision, the present of the future is the expectation. Augustine understood very well that time is neither a thing nor a property of things, but a relationship, and that is the consequence of a subjective dimension, which depends of the subject and on his own interiority. And it is not by chance that when he speaks of God in relation to time, he writes that for God there is no before or after, but only an eternal present. The key point, however, is that each of us can experience this eternity whenever he manages to be totally reconciled with himself and with the world by penetrating the sacred space of present time itself. The difficulty of this action, or of this ability, has been well described by Nietzsche himself in the famous aphorism 341 contained in Joyful Wisdom, which, not surprisingly, he defined as the greatest way, also connecting it to the idea of eternity with respect to every event. But the idea that everything can repeat itself an infinite number of times, of course, is unsustainable for those who cannot accept and love themselves for what they are. Only those who live up to this love of self and of life, therefore, are able to transform the demon into God. In short, if we were really able to be like this, there would be nothing more to fear, nothing more to be ashamed of, and nothing more to escape from. And this is precisely the superhuman invitation that Nietzsche himself offers by writing, I adjure you, brothers, remain faithful to the earth and do not believe those who speak to you of super-earthly hopes. They are poisoners, whether they know it or not. They are despisers of life, dying and poison themselves, of which the herd is tired. Let them go. It is only through the unconditional acceptance of oneself and therefore of an unconditional love towards oneself, which has nothing to do with narcissism, and towards life, that it is possible to inhabit the present, the divine eternal present of which Augustine himself spoke about. But to do this, you need to authentically know and explore yourself as well as observe yourself from every external angle. This is the sense of the Delphic motto Gnosis Auton, which for Socrates means know your soul in the sense of know your psyche, or also know your thinking system. Jesus himself said, why do you look at the speck in your brother's eye while you don't notice the beam in your eye? Or how can you say to your brother, allow me to take the speck out of your eye, while in the eye of your is the beam. Hypocrite, first remove the beam from your eye, and then you will see clearly to remove the speck from your brother's eye. But most people prefer to live in illusion, in victimhood, and ignorance of what they are than to unmask themselves by going through their pain, fears, and despair, even if the process does not necessarily have to be painful, sad, or dramatic, because if we are able not to take ourselves too seriously, it can become even joyful, light, or fun. And what about you? Are you ready to recognize and remove the beam in your eye and to reconcile with your present? Are you ready to face your own makeup free image reflected in the mirror and to see, to accept, and to become who you are?